It's time. It's episode 49. It's one before we raise a big bet for a half century of ATM Apologise to Me. We're talking the All Blacks World Cup squad, the Women's World Cup, Silver Ferns, and a disastrous World Championships. Pay parity, Warriors top four, Premier League starting, amongst others. Mark Watson has been in Samoa, winning 4K swimming races, pretending you're a professional like the old days, Watto.
Yeah, actually, in the finish, ended up going to the 2K series. That was where most of the people were competing, and I felt I could sort of swim 4K, but I felt I could be competitive over two. So, we went all right in the finish. Ended up finishing second in the series. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got to say, Samoa, what an absolutely beautiful, beautiful place to travel to. Absolutely blown away by just how stunning that particular part of the world is.
And friendly people, lovely people, warm, welcoming people.
Oh, look, absolutely. Yeah, no, couldn't be nicer, couldn't be friendlier. Like you say, it's a really good wake up for a lot of people when you go to some of those smaller villages and just see how the people do live over there. But everybody's smiling. Doesn't appear to be a lot of mental health issues, and
no ram raids that we know of. Yeah, no shooting in the street. Yeah. Cost of living crisis people are facing. Petrol at $9 a litre. They don't have any of those kind of problems that New Zealanders have.
No, and sometimes you can look at it and go, oh, look, it's a little bit of subsistence, or it's a little bit of third world living in some of these villages. But you do ask yourself who's got it right when you do look at those things like, lifestyle and happiness and mental health and all of those other things. Yeah, so no, absolutely stunning. Just a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. And I know a lot of people here go up to Fiji and stuff, but I do thoroughly recommend maybe looking at Samoa.
The All Black squad have been announced, 33 names to carry our hopes into the World Cup. Watto, are you feeling confident after that?
Yeah, just quickly though, I got to Apia Park on Saturday and I got to watch Samoa play Tonga in a World Cup warm-up game, stacked full of All Blacks, Charles Piutau, the likes of Malakai Fekitoa, Stephen Luatua, but I also at the same time managed to watch the All Black Wallaby game. Just a couple of questions. I'm just wanting to know how rest and rotation throughout Super Rugby helped that All Black team on Saturday, because I think we were lucky to get away from it. And I'm going to reinforce what I said to you the previous week. Let's get rid of the All Black haka. Another poor start. We look like a deer in headlights for the first sort of 40 minutes. A lot of energy, a lot of emotion again put into that haka, and then the moment we kick off, we just seem to be on the back foot. But yeah, look, going to the All Black squad, I think fairly predictable in the finish, wasn't there? No real sort of bolter. Still like to, I don't know, there's a part of me that still wants to see Sean Stevenson in there somewhere based on Super Rugby form. But yeah, pretty good side on paper based on, I think, the depth and talent that we've currently got in New Zealand rugby. It's just making sure, and again, I'll put this down, going back to my point around rest and rotation, going down to the fact that we rest and rotation during Super Rugby. I think what also Saturday highlighted is the fact that a lack of rugby also probably cost us, and you just sort of hope that, just sort of hope that we do get enough rugby in the build up to those key games, and that the marquee players have time to settle, have time to actually get match fit, and we can just build on those combinations.
It's going to be a big balancing act, isn't it? It's going to be a really delicate balancing act, because, the way it works is playing France to start with, and then we have three relatively easy games, although Italy, and never easy, but it is a test match. But at the same time, getting the A team ready, and we do have a very much a team and a B team. You saw that on the weekend, getting that A team ready so that when it comes to knockout rugby, that they are going to be able to play more than one match consecutive weekends, like we have seen over those first three tests of the year against Argentina, Australia and South Africa. We are capable. We just need to be absolutely tuned and primed to be able to repeat that again come quarter, hopefully semi, and then hopefully final.
Yeah. Hey, just going back to, it's got nice. I've got to say, I had a bit of a catch up with Charles Piutau. He's just come home with a little bit of a knee niggle, I think what they call an ACL grade 1, so he might sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and just having a chat to Totai Kefu, the coach of Tonga, thinks he'll be okay for the World Cup. George Mawala was up there. Stephen Luatua looked magnificent for Samoa, playing up there, and it's actually nice to see these All Blacks being able to come across and help these island nations hopefully fulfill their potential at the World Cup. Very, very physical game in Apia, brutal. Just absolutely, just at the collision. It's only when you actually watch these big men run out onto the park and you're up close and personal and see some of the hits that do go on. It's going to be a fascinating World Cup. And I just genuinely hope that whether it be Fiji, Tonga or Samoa, can really sort of step up and do something similar to what we saw with the Samoan team back in 1991, because they're just such athletes and they're just so damn passionate about it in that part of the world.
Apologise to me!
Women's World Cup, Watto, what are you seeing? What are you liking?
I'm still liking Japan. I think Netherlands, the winner of Netherlands-Spain, I think will certainly be in the mix. Australia, I think, starting to find their mojo. It didn't surprise me the United States went out. So I thought Nigeria last night. I managed to watch that. I was at the airport and I managed to watch that game. I just thought Nigeria were unlucky. Boy, they got some wonderful players in that side. In terms of just basic skills, ball at foot, I thought Nigeria very, very unlucky to go out to England in that penalty shootout. But look, it's been a great tournament. I want to just re-emphasise this again in terms of really proud of the New Zealand public for turning up to Eden Park, turning up to Wellington, and the numbers they have been turning up to, particularly here in Auckland. And again, just the crowd last night that was in for that Australian game, remarkable. And so, look, and I think the best football's about to come. You always feel sorry for those nations that do have to exit. Not easy. But look, it is what it is. And I think this World Cup is still very, very open, Martin.
Pay parity, I mean, that one hasn't reared its head for a couple of weeks, but get ready. The mainstream media will have their pens, articles set to post as soon as the tournament is over. Football ferns deserve pay parity. I don't know with who exactly, but you know this is coming, don't you?
Yeah, but look, I mean, watching the New Zealand women's football team, it's a bit like watching the New Zealand women's cricket team. And I'll always say this in comparison to what I see from our New Zealand female athletes and our New Zealand female swimmers. I mean, I just find those footballers, those women's cricketers, the ones that jump up and down and ask the most for money. Mate, from my experiences, I describe most of them as club athletes at best. They look just a bunch of amateurs, and they're just playing the political environment at the moment. It's all about self-interest. But look, if you go actually back, and look, I'm sure you could say the same about the men, but we are just talking about women's sport at the moment. Ever since money's come into women's cricket, ever since money's come into women's netball to a higher degree, ever since money's come into a higher degree with the women's football team, the teams have actually gone backwards. We have failed miserably. Our women's cricket team's just been awful since the whole money thing's come in. And again, they'll play the political environment. The other thing, Martin, is I'm still just sick and tired of no real negative analysis on a lot of women's sport. There's been no negative criticism of any female referee so far in this tournament. I thought the officiating last night in that game between England and Nigeria was average at best. And we've got to stop just patronising people and stop just being fans. We're not doing the sports any favour. And there's no argument. Look, during the Women's World Cup, hey, find out what the profit is, work it on a percentage of what the men get, as we've said, and pay them accordingly. And then once this Women's Football World Cup finishes, if the football ferns can still get large crowds along, hey, and you can fill up a stadium, let's have that conversation. But we said it last week, mate, this fear factor that organisations now have from our left-wing media is just absolutely putting sport at huge financial risk. A lot of these athletes don't deserve to be full-time athletes. I don't think the workloads and the volume of training that they do, the amount of games they're playing justify it. Certainly not in comparison to, say, as I said last week, to say what our female swimmers are doing, what our, some of our other female athletes in other sports are doing.
Apologise to me!
Netball, two men talking netball. Watto, any calls to get rid of Nolan Toru? That's just idiocy, isn't it? Look, losing Grace Nweki, huge problem for the Silver Ferns and not having that combination with Toiava. But really, when it come down to it, we just didn't have the players, did we? I mean, we lost to teams that played better than us and had better players than us. It's that simple, isn't it?
I don't know the game. I don't know the game well enough to comment on maybe some of the controversial selections and taking players and playing them out of position. All I'm seeing from netball is this thing of what rugby are doing. We've got to rest our players and we've got to give the deeper squad. It's netball, for Christ's sake. These guys are going out there and playing for an hour every day. Just stick to your best team. Stop overthinking it. Get rid of your sports scientists. Get rid of your damn PowerPoint presentations and just play your best players every day in the best position for them. And this sort of, we're going to give these wider players a bit of, draw against South Africa. It's just dumb stuff. As I said, it's just PowerPoint presentation rubbish, just constantly overthinking it and somehow thinking that makes you this, we've got this professional environment alongside of what the players do in the NFL or in Major League Baseball. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Stop taking yourself so damn seriously. Just get out there, put your best team out and play. It is not that hard a game to recover from in comparison to a lot of other sports.
Apologise to me!
The Warriors are top 4, Watto. It looks a cert now, doesn't it? How about that? I mean, no one seriously believed that at the start of the year, but this is a team that just keeps winning.
Yeah, no, look, I'm certainly one of those, mate. But I don't blame people for that. I don't like people going to me, I told you so. Well, no, you didn't. You've telling me now you never said anything at the start of the season. You never predicted this at the start of the season. As I said, there's a lot of people out there that are cowards wise after the fact. But, yeah, look, it is remarkable. And Webster should get the tiiiiime Coach of the Year for what he's done. There shouldn't even be a discussion in that. The fascinating one for me is if Sean Johnson picks up the tiiiiime for the best player. Wouldn't that just be a remarkable story?
Incredible,
I would have to walk up to the man and simply apologise because, what a season he has had. And I said to you at the start of the year, I want to see what he's doing come round 17. And to be honest, he's just continued to build on the form that he showed through the first 5 rounds. You get into that top 4, you've basically got 2 lives. And I think if you've got 2 lives, the Warriors have got a chance. Are they good enough to win it? I don't think so. Are they good enough to make a semi-final, potentially a final? Absolutely. Because they've just continued to surprise us. They've just continued to do the unthinkable. And so why not continue that?
Apologise to me!
Finally, the Premier League is kicking off this weekend. A couple of rule changes. They are going to add on injury time like we're seeing in the World Cup. So you're going to see matches extended pretty much from 90 to 100 minutes. I'm not so sure that that's a good idea. They're putting in a couple of extra measures around trying to protect the referees and the lines people from abuse. I don't think they're doing enough in that area. I mean, I really do still believe that it should be the captain and only the captain that speaks to a referee, and that there should be a metre circle around the referee. And if you encroach in that, yellow card, you come again, red card. By the time you've got 3 players left on the field and you've lost 12-0, you won't be doing it next week. But your Liverpool side, mate, you're playing Europa League. You'll be, I think it's the Phoenix the first round, and then you go to the Seychelles, don't you, on the next Tuesday night. I'm laughing because this is a team that has collapsed. Jurgen Klopp as a coach that's lost the dressing room. You haven't really done that much in the transfer market, and I can see you're probably struggling to finish in the top 10. That's my certain wish, and I would pray for that every night.
Yeah, but for all of that, we still managed to beat Manchester United 7-0 last season. But look, I know Liverpool are going to assault Manchester United on where some of these clubs are in the UEFA League because they're well versed in what the airports are and what the best hotels are to stay in these cities, Martin. But isn't it great that we can have this level of banter because it is just such a wonderful competition?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And I say it, you don't have Liverpool without Manchester United. You don't have Manchester United without Liverpool. It's been a fascinating transfer window season. Look, Manchester City, in my opinion, still go in again clearly.
They have to.
Premier League's favourites. Look, just going on to your points. Look, I agree with the protecting of the referee. I wouldn't last, mate. I just can't keep my mouth shut. I'm too emotional. I'm too passionate. I'll have a crack at the referee and then feel really embarrassed half an hour later and want to get on the phone and apologise, but I would end up getting yellow. I've got a sneaking feeling you would too, Martin, to be honest. I think that's just who we are. Look, in regards to, this 9-10 minutes of injury time, basically the game's ending up now being 100 minutes, isn't it?
It's just
there's already
stupid,
major talk over welfare of players, how many games they're playing in the season. We're going to see a lot more points determined and decided in the 95th of the 100-minute mark. Clearly more than we've ever seen before. And so it's just another little chapter. It's another little thing that just makes this Premier League even more exciting. I'm excited, Martin. It is still really the only one true thing that I wake up every day for with a real passion. Want to know how my team's going, want to know who's in the transfer, keen to know what the starting lineup is, the shape that Klopp's going to have, and clearly the new signings, how they're going to fit in. And clearly, we got Chelsea first up. We're going to need to get off to a really, really good start, as every team is. I just don't think you can, you just can't be dropping points, can you, early on? You maybe get away with a draw, but you certainly can't be having losses in those first 4 or 5 rounds. It's just too tight.
Devlin.
Yeah, the next rule.
The platform.